welcome back to No Place Like Homaha. I am your host, JD Wonder, alongside Nick Hendricks and Mikey Love. Boys, how we feeling about this first weekend of baseball?
Mikey, you want to take it off, dude?
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy weekend. I really expect there to be a lot closer games, throughout
Mhm.
these
Oh,
four-ish
100%.
days. It's kind of starting on Thursday, but it was just a hit and miss. There was close games, and then there was either blowouts or just not high-scoring games. But I feel like a big majority of the games were high-scoring. I mean, just looking through the scores real quick. This is a random one, but George Washington played UT Rio Grande Valley, and that score was 23-3. Like,
There were
what?
a lot of 15-plus score games this weekend. And I know Texas, and we'll get to that later, but Texas was three of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, NC State put a pounding on Evansville as well. Like, there were so many games that went 15-plus runs. So offenses are huge this season, which actually makes me feel very confident. And everybody that's saying, baseball's kind of like a dying off sport. Baseball is not as exciting. College baseball, I had a roommate from Las Vegas literally send me a text. He said, college baseball is more fun to watch than even NFL football at this point. Like, there are so many different games that went huge this weekend and so many upsets that we'll get to later on in the episode. So
Absolutely, I totally agree. So we are recording this episode on February 20th. So far we have seen all the weekend games, and then next week we will address the midweek games that will happen going forward. Is there any games that stick out to you guys to start it off?
Yeah, I
well,
think that Vanderbilt series with
ooh,
Oklahoma State was a
Mm-hmm.
very good one.
Yes.
I fully expected Vanderbilt to come out and just be as dominant as they always are, and that just actually was not the case. I think they came away with one win in that whole series.
it was definitely a
Sure.
big series for Oklahoma State, winning the first game especially
Most definitely.
against one of the top teams in the country. So, and the Cowboys within the last couple of years have been a very dominant program in the Big 12. Texas, you look at, they've been constant throughout the years, but Oklahoma State has been picking their way up. I believe it was 2 years ago when they beat Nebraska in a regional or
Mm-hmm. Yep.
super regional. So I'm trying to pull up Vanderbilt's schedule right now to look at how the rest of the year went. So, but they had Oklahoma State Vandy won 3-0 in the first game, and then they lost 4-3, and then they lost 7-5 today earlier. So offense has been there for Vanderbilt, but Oklahoma State seemed to be able to get past the pitching staff, and I think that's Vanderbilt's biggest thing is you have Nick Maldonado on the mound, but you have a very, very big bullpen. And if any other team can get past that, then, that's probably the biggest thing that you have to look at if you're a Vandy defense.
It's crazy you say that. I read somewhere, I wasn't able to watch that very first game, but I believe it was 16 strikeouts is what Chris
Chris
McElvin had.
McEvan went in the first game, yeah.
And I think it was 16, and he basically shut down the Oklahoma State offense. And then Oklahoma State comes back to, rattle off 2 wins kind of in a surprising fashion, which was pretty cool to see.
Well, Chris McEvan in the first game, I looked at the stats. He had 10 strikeouts in the first game. So Chris McEvan in the first line, 4 innings pitched, 4 hits. He had 1 walk, 10 strikeouts, and a full 16 at-bats. So he did pretty well. Justin Campbell for Oklahoma State in that first game, he went 4 innings, 4 hits. He had 3 earned runs that ended up costing Oklahoma State the game. But throughout the rest of the series, Oklahoma State pitching seemed to kind of be the dominance, a couple of good late hits early on in those first 2 games. So, Oklahoma State could be a threatened later half in second game, or in the latter half of the series, I should say.
Absolutely. I didn't catch much of that game. The ones that I had my eye on the most were the Long Beach State, Mississippi State, and then Bryant and East Carolina. So looking at just this first game, looking at Long Beach State and Mississippi State. Mississippi State only had one hit in that first game. So Long Beach State's pitching staff was lights out.
Long Beach State the entire weekend was lights out on that pitching staff. But also, I think the one thing that has to factor in is that offense. Long Beach State's offense is absolutely deadly, especially in later innings. They had a couple of good rallies with at least after 5 innings. So, and I think Mississippi State did win the game today, but Long Beach State obviously won the series. That is one team that I think needs to be looked at down the road. If you can win the latter half of the games within those later innings, then you're 100% looking for a regional bid. And honestly, Long Beach State has not been one of those teams to win early innings. They've been a team that can thrive on their pitching staff. They can thrive on their bullpen. They can thrive on their late inning offense. And I think Mississippi State has been one of those teams that has thrived on being able to kind of put the handle on teams and just keep rolling. So they were not obviously able to do that this weekend, and that was kind of their downfall. And I think another team that we can talk about later on with that opinion is Florida and Liberty. So, but Mississippi State looks strong, but they still don't look as strong as they definitely should have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and to face a ranked opponent right away, it'll be a challenge. But I would have figured that they would have put up a better fight, especially in that second game, 13-3. I would have figured that they would have put up a better fight than that, being the reigning national champs and stuff. But
one game that I would talk about though for a series is that Florida and Liberty. Good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Liberty came out in the first game. Florida ended up winning it, but Liberty won the first game of the series and took the entirety yesterday. Their entire team, I think there was a stat that was said yesterday, they're like 82-4 leading after the fifth all time. So, I mean, Liberty could be a team that late in the season for a regional bid, yes. And Kevin O'Sullivan's team looked still very good, but the Florida Gators have a lot of opportunity to work with. They still have a very good first baseman in their lineup. They just need to find that hitting. And again, first game jitters, yes, we all know they'll be their SEC teams. They feel it more than most because it's the SEC with baseball. But there will be improvement for Kevin O'Sullivan's Gators, and they will be feeling this Liberty loss. But, man, that was a beat down this weekend by the Liberty Flames.
Not only that, I mean, you think of a Florida team who's ranked – every year, usually.
They were ninth this year.
Yeah, and then
when that happened.
You look at a team in East Carolina who is not usually ranked. They get ranked top 15 and drop a goose egg in the win column.
Yeah.
Ryan just came out and just flat out hit them. They were hitting taters all over the yard in the first game. That was a shock to me. You know, I really expected East Carolina to do something, but if this is how you start, I don't know. Something's got to change quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so talking about that East Carolina game, there was something pretty controversial that stuck out to me in the second game. So they were going into the ninth. I believe there was one out. East Carolina was up because they were the home team, and it was a tie ball game. And guy hits a just blasted over the wall. Everybody knew it was gone. However, the first baseman was pointing at the first base umpire. The first base umpire had called time, but the home plate umpire hadn't acknowledged it yet. So
Gotcha.
Ball went out. They called it back because of that umpire calling time. So apparently they were timed out, so it was dead ball. And then Bryant went on to win that game in extra innings.
Gosh. Oh, man. I hadn't seen that video yet, and that was game 2. That was the first game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That was that 10th inning finale then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So for anybody who's unfamiliar with it, so far the scores for East Carolina, they lost 10-2 in game 1 on Friday. They lost 4-5 in that 10th inning game that Josh just mentioned. And then they lost 4-3 in the second game. So Bryant had a clean sweep over the Pirates, who have been actually a very good regional team to at least get to the super regionals and win the American Conference. So East Carolina kind of with a stumble. And to look at their schedule next, They have Campbell, who has been a top 25 bid for the last 2 years preseason. North Carolina is their next big weekend series. So they play them Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then they got Duke coming up next Tuesday on March 1st. So East Carolina has a big schedule. We've got two Big Ten opponents in the Lee Clear Classic. So East Carolina has some steps up. Mikey, you might want this one. I'm just kind of looking at the schedule right now and diving into it. They've got Old Dominion on
Yes,
March
they
15th.
do.
That's
Yes,
a Tuesday,
they
and that's in
do.
Virginia. So
Old Dominion, baby. I would like to tell you they laid an absolute beatdown on Iona today, 19-1. So,
Oh, there
hey,
you go. Old Dominion actually
donkey
had a pretty good
slapping
weekend,
kids.
though.
Donkey slapping kids.
Yeah, I mean, man, there were some great games, but one series that I want to talk about also as well. Let's dive into first, before we dive into one of Mikey's guys that both him and I were talking about, Ivan Melendez and the Texas Longhorns, the Hispanic Titanic, and the Longhorns outscored opponents, which was Rice, 33-3 this weekend. Can you imagine that? You got absolutely just throttled by a train. Ivan Melendez today hit two 3-run bombs. One of them went 471 feet. I mean, are you kidding me? The man is an absolute stud this year.
Taters.
I mean, Texas baseball, granted, Rice they have had some trouble with in the past. So, I mean, it's not a shock that they should win that series. But still, I mean, Texas baseball this year looked unreal. Pitching staff, fantastic. Defense played great. Offense, obviously. You outscore your opponents 33-3 when it comes to the runs column, you deserve that weekend bust. So you're a number one pick in my mind.
Yeah, they did exactly what they needed to do. Facing an unranked opponent and opponent that is good in seasons. So it's not just a wash by game.
Oh, no.
To come by and definitely put it on them was key for them to do to retain that one spot, especially with all the upsets we've seen this weekend.
Oh, yeah, and especially with just Texas being kind of that upset team in the College World Series. The last 4 years they've been there. They haven't made the College World Series finals. They've been that semifinal team that'll get there. They'll get upset kind of late in the season. So, I mean, there's that opportunity for them to be there, but there's still a lot of growth since 2005, which was their last College World Series championship. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams that I'm kind of looking at right now on the ESPN app that are sitting there. And Mikey, I think you and I might want to talk about this a little bit more, but one of those teams being the NC State Wolfpack, and one of those guys being AKA the man. He hit 5 nukes this weekend, Taylor White.
He kind of, I didn't expect him. He's a freshman, and he did not come up on my freshman radar, you could say. You just never can really know. But the dude flat out just balled this weekend.
Oh,
just taters all over the yard, taters in every game. I mean, they beat Evansville 24-6 in the opening day. Like, that's just a beating. I feel like that's them sending the NCAA a message like, you screwed us over last year. We're coming to donkey slap some kids with our large peckers, you know?
Just flop it out there.
Yeah.
But so I had a stat on White's stat line here. Let me see if I can pull it up on Twitter. I'm kind of loading it up right now. Let me get to the profile. But the man absolutely went off. He had 5 home runs this weekend. In his first couple at bats, he had some big home runs, and then he ended up having a grand slam earlier today. So shout out to that guy. Oh, wait, I got to go to my likes. I'm looking at my main page. Please hold for 5 seconds. I liked a lot of college baseball today. We're on the podcast today. Also, okay, so Taylor White he was 9 for 12 this weekend. He had 12 runs batted in. I mean, man was an absolute stud. He hit 5 home runs in the span of 48 hours. So if you take that math into mind, I mean, NC State is on an absolute, like Mikey said, just a tear. They're willing to prove something to the CWS committee. They're willing to prove anybody to the NCAA. So watch out for NC State. Watch out for Taylor White. He's a freshman. So there's probably one of our big freshmen to watch this year.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
Anybody else got any big games for the weekend?
Well, I mean, speaking of the long ball,
all right.
beer showers are back. Tim Elko's back. That man goes Oppo Taco.
Where's it at? Hold on. I got a
Loved
lead
it.
course of this.
Mhm.
We're putting on an Ole Miss hat right now. Locking it in.
Absolutely.
Tim Elko's a man. He had 3 home runs this weekend. What a guy.
Dude, I absolutely love the beer showers of the stadium. I think that's so unique for the home run celebrations there.
Swayze Field, just in college baseball, is an absolute atmosphere. What are you going to say about it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
They had their baby blues today.
They did have
That's
baby
what it
blues
is.
today. And
That's what it
okay,
is.
so I will say this because it does lead in. One, Ole Miss won the entire series over Charleston Southern. They won it 3-0, and they won their game 12-2 today. Also, oh my Lord, that audio was bad. Hayden Dunhurst also for Ole Miss, the catcher, an absolute beast. They had a couple of big home runs today as well. But if you actually kind of take a look, Gonzaga earlier this week released some baby blues. I don't know if anybody's seen them. Hopefully we can post a pic with them. But Gonzaga released some baby blues. Yeah, they did. Their baseball team released some baby blues this week. And they actually looked kind of fire, not going to lie.
That's interesting because they don't have baby blue anywhere in their color scheme for their school.
Yeah.
But more power
They
to
don't,
you, I
but
guess.
I mean, baby blues are kind of there. So.
Well, it's the same with Tulane. Tulane has baby blues as well. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of theirs, honestly, with the green.
With the green, it's a weird color scheme, but I mean, I kind of like it. And also, we got to remember all 3 of us being West Side members. I don't know how much they're going to like it, but Mitch Hagan was a West Side guy. He went to Tulane. But also, shout out to West Side. Just want to point this out. Sorry for a little bit of a plug. They hosted a college baseball weekend series. It was the good old BV Beavers, and it was a good weekend. That field looks kind of nice. They returfed their field. It looks really good.
Subtle plug.
Little plug.
Repping his college and high school. Love it.
I had to watch the game a little bit this weekend. I miss college baseball, dude. It's a fun atmosphere.
It is.
Also, we had our first no-hitter of the weekend. And it was early.
Who was it?
Yeah, it was his very first start. He was from, what was it? Mike, do you remember where it was from? I gotta look at my likes here on Twitter. We're pulling it up real fast.
I do not. All I know is his first career start.
Colin Hunter. He was a first career start. It was from Sac State baseball. He went 7 innings, no hits, no runs, 9 Ks. And it was for Sac City, first no-hitter. So, Colin Hunter, congratulations. You got the first no-hitter of 2022, bud.
Perfect.
If we're going on interesting stats, Arizona State scored 16 two-out runs today, so there's
I was
that.
really hoping somebody mentioned that. Thanks, Mike. Fantastic.
That's either bad pitching or very good hitting.
Very clutch hitting, yeah.
I mean, if
no
you
in
actually
between.
There was a video that I saw, and once again, we'll thank Twitter for it, but it was a lot of big 2-out hitting. Also, if you want to put out some clutch hitting today, Delaware walked off Notre Dame today with a big walk-off home run, the Blue Hens. And then also as well, there was an electric walk-off. I will caption that on Twitter. College Station, so Texas A&M got a big walk-off today as well. So a lot of big wins.
Speaking of electric.
There was actually one kid, he's from Grand Canyon. He almost hit for the cycle today.
There's 2 people in that game that almost hit for the cycle.
Oh,
no.
One on Grand Canyon side and the other on oh my God.
Who did they face?
Escaping me.
To pull it up real fast.
Annoy me.
Welcome to the fact that we're ready with multiple tabs.
Nevada.
Like Nevada, Reno, like the Wolfpack, Nevada?
Yep, like Nevada straight throttled them 20-2 earlier on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then Grand Canyon came in 115-4 in that game there was a Nevada guy who almost hit for the cycle and a GCU guy who almost hit for the cycle.
Well, the GCU one stuck out to me because his last at bat, all he needed was a triple, and he hit it in the perfect spot to get a triple, but it bounced right to the outfielder. So as he was rounding second,
Oh, that's tough.
it was like you can't make it happen. So he ended with I think he ended with 2 doubles, a single, and a home run. So close.
Truth. This is pretty cool too. I don't know if you guys were able to catch this, but in the Vanderbilt game, this is the first time that people were allowed to wear electronic wristbands. So
Ooh, no.
all 9 of the starting players in the field for Vanderbilt had an electronic wristband, and the pitching coach would tell him would type in onto his controller what pitch he wanted thrown. So then all 9 guys knew what was being thrown and where it was going to be located or where it was supposed to be located.
Huh.
Dang.
Yeah, it's the first year that it's legal in college baseball.
Okay, so how do we feel about that? That's a very interesting topic. Josh, go first.
I mean, I like the whole idea of wristbands and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And if you have the technology to do it, then great. But I don't know. For me, I've always liked it, and it might be controversial. So I've seen it a lot more in softball than baseball, where the pitcher and the catcher will both have wristbands, and then
Yep.
the coach will call out the pitch, and then they'll both know what's coming, rather than calling it out to the catcher, having the catcher like go through signs and all that kind of stuff. I just think it makes the game move a little bit quicker, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you have the technology for it, I'm not necessarily opposed to it.
Mike, what do you guys say?
I think it's pretty cool. I think, like Josh said, it could kind of take away from those lower level teams like a
Mhm.
Grand Canyon or people who don't quite have the funding for that. Because you think of a Vanderbilt, they go to the CWS every year. They've got plenty of money for baseball.
Exactly.
But it also, I think, kind of takes away from the game, just in the aspect of, not when you steal signs, not the way the Astros did.
Oof.
But when you actually steal them, like you pick up their tendencies, like this technology is then basically getting rid of that. But I guess in a way, though, it's also potentially speeding up the game because you just need to look at your wristband and everybody knows what's going to happen. So you just get on and you go, rather
Yeah.
than having to have the catcher flash 19 different signs,
Right.
be shaken off 17 times, and then going.
I mean,
Totally
I
agree.
do kind of get that. I get where the fact that you want to take more so less like what would you call it? The harder thinking out of it, kind of on that strategy line, but at the same time, it's just like it's a weird thing to kind of get used to. So I definitely see it, but I don't. It's kind of like the NFL having the mics and the helmets, which definitely help a lot of quarterbacks, especially just to kind of understand where the play is supposed to go. And I feel like it doesn't take away from other players on the infield side, and it doesn't take away from the pitcher because you can still miss a spot. Like let's face the fact here, Mikey. You kind of mentioned it. Aroldis Chapman was supposed to throw a slider. Jose Altuve hit it 400 or 400 feet.
Might as well have been 400 yards.
Controversially,
Yeah.
Jesus.
it was
Controversially,
coming,
yes.
but not
Still, a pitcher can understand where his spot's supposed to be with his pitch, and he can still accidentally. There are so many different factors in that. So I feel like there really isn't a disadvantage in it. I feel like it's just kind of an interesting thing to implement on the college level first.
True.
Instead of the MLB level.
It also brings up who's going to be the first to manipulate it.
Exactly.
And use it against what it's actually intended for.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see how that works. We'll see where it goes. Another factor that I want to type in, Josh, one of your CWS teams, but we got to talk about it. They're the hometown boys. Nebraska drops big series. And by big series, I mean they lose 3 games out of 4 to Sam Houston. They've had some trouble with Sam Houston early, and I mean they've got TCU down in Arlington at the Texas Rangers Stadium, I believe, is where they're playing at for this college baseball tournament. So that will be a big series for them coming up next. But they ended up losing games 8-5 in game number 1. In the first of a doubleheader Saturday, they lost 5-1, and then they won 12-9, and then they ended up losing 6-3 earlier today. So Nebraska kind of starting off a little bit heavy and a little bit hard, but I mean,
still early. It's still early.
It's still early. I will
The
say they
term is
do
very
have,
Nebraska-ish.
but
We'll see what
one
happens.
big series to kind of look out for people.
Mm-hmm.
They have a series against Long Beach State coming up in Lincoln. That is March 11th, 12th, and 13th. So, I mean, if you guys can
That'll
get
be a
your
big game.
tickets, that'd be a fun game to go to. I don't know about me. I might have turkey season with the job, but that might be some pretty good games to go to. Otherwise, they don't start Big Ten play until March 25th. Their first Big Ten opponent is against Michigan. They don't play any Omaha teams until March 29th. They've got a game against Creighton. That's in Omaha, so that'll be at TD Ameritrade on March
Charles
29th.
Schwab.
What?
It is
Charles
Schwab Stadium
Field.
now.
Oh, sorry. I can't say TD Ameritrade anymore.
No,
Forgive
got
me.
bought.
I did get bought. I'm a little sad about it. TD Ameritrade just rolls off the tongue.
It's Charles Schwab Field.
Schwab Field.
Yep, it is Charles Schwab. And then they have they actually play at UNO, so their new arena or their new baseball park down by Baxter Arena off 90th. So that'll be very cool to see that game go on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
All right, what else we got? Where are we going next?
We could move to our second topic of today. Favorite uniform combo, since we kind of talked about saying it in the last episode. And
I got this. Don't even
I mean,
worry.
it was just like, it's just perfect setup.
Mike is ready.
So,
Don't fret. I got you.
after this weekend of a bunch of teams debuting their uniforms and getting all the looks and stuff, we just gotta talk about what we like.
Yeah, these Notre Dames, these all navies with the gold helmet, they get me. I'm a big fan of these guys, as well as the Vandy pinstripes, the black pinstripes.
Oh, the black pinstripe.
Yes.
But then you got to talk about Mississippi State's all blacks, man.
I don't want to. I don't want to. I talked about them last week, but
You did.
Coastal Carolina's blacks with teal looked pretty cute too. Not gonna lie.
Those blacks are all nice.
I'm a big dark colored guy. What can I say? It's cool. I like the colors. You know, if we're gonna go light, Mississippi State had their all white pinstripes. Which, you know, we're semi-cute, not fully cute, but is up there.
Halfway there.
Yeah.
Are we going with cutes?
Yeah, we're going with the cute scale today.
All right. I mean, I got to say, one thing that does stand out to me, though, is the Nikes Texas any white pinstripe or just straight all white. Those look just very sharp. The burnt orange with the straight white looks very nice. Mikey, I will agree.
You're biased.
No, I'm
You
not
are
biased.
You love Texas. Get out of here.
I do like Texas, but I'm going to say it right now. Honestly, I'm going to find a picture of it from this last weekend. Gonzaga's Baby Blues, honestly, might be in contention with Ole Miss's Baby Blues.
No.
We'll put a picture on here. We'll try to get a comment vote. We'll even post a TikTok or a Twitter post about it.
I'd rather drive a smart car than agree to this.
I'll Google this real quick.
Dude, somebody Google these Gonzaga Baby Blues. They were kind of flame, not going to lie.
You're mistaken.
No, I'm going to look it up.
I would rather have throw up brown.
Yeah, I don't agree.
As a color.
Don't agree with that pick.
Gonzaga doesn't have.
No. Are you looking at their Baby Blues,
colors.
Josh? Come on, bud. Their Baby Blues are kind of fire.
You got to do what's in your school color theme, bro. Baby Blues, not in Gonzaga. They're a basketball school. They suck at everything else.
They're a basketball school.
Yikes.
All right.
It is what it is.
So, Nick, you said Texas, and then you said Gonzaga.
Texas is whites.
Okay.
Gonzaga's Baby Blues, but Ole Miss's Baby Blues still do remain unbeaten. Not going to lie.
Okay.
What else? I mean, the one other uniform that kind of stands out to me, I would probably say is Mississippi State's all blacks. They're so clean. They're super nice. I mean, I believe they won the World Series, or they won the CWS with their maroon and whites, I think, if I remember right.
They did.
But
they did.
I mean, when you see just those all blacks, Vanderbilt's pinstripes are good, but Mississippi State's all blacks takes the top. We had a team in our conference, the Luther Norse. They tried to pull off some all blacks, and they had a little bit of kind of like that royal blue. it looked great, but not as good as Mississippi State's all black. So my top uniforms, Texas is whites, Ole Miss is baby blues, Mississippi State's all blacks.
All right. I mean, since we've kind of been all about the Ole Miss powder blue uniforms, I mean, I do like them a lot, and I think that they're, up there. However, I gotta say, like NC State's white vests, like the white with the red sleeves, I love those. I think those are a classy look. Other than that, I really like the Vanderbilt Salute to Service uniforms.
They wore those today.
Yeah, I do like those. It's the olive green kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pretty good.
Pretty good. I gotta say, Arkansas, their
Please
cream
don't.
cream
No.
uniforms. Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
what about we even talked about
No.
TCU's?
No.
TCU does have some dirty throwbacks.
They do.
Cream belongs in the garbage.
And I'd say Rice's pinstripes. I really like Rice's pinstripes. Just that
Rice's
navy
has the
kind of
pinstripes.
pinstripes. And then I like Texas Tech's black jerseys.
Oh, those are
Throttled today.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, a lot of good unis kind of around the land. So with that though, what do we got for games coming up this weekend?
Well, actually, we have a midweek game. Big one that sticks out to me is Dallas Baptist and Texas Tech.
Where's that one at?
Should
Hold
be
on, let me pull up ESPN here.
at Texas Tech. It's at 3 p.m.
We got Monday. Okay, so Monday we got Missouri Nicholas. They're
Mhm.
just kind of that finish of the last week. Louisville
Yeah,
Xavier.
Lou. Yeah, I'm talking about
Dallas,
Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
Dallas Baptist, Texas Tech, and then we got NC State. They're at High Point, or they host High Point. Mississippi State. That's an all right game. Not going to be
Another big one to
much.
look at is going to be Tennessee Tech and Tennessee, because Tennessee Tech is actually a really good ball club. They're just
Tennessee
pretty
Tech,
underrated.
Weren't they 2 or 3 years ago? They had the all-time home run lead.
Yep.
They had like 80-some home runs in a single friggin' season.
Yeah, it was like almost all of their starters had like double-digit home runs. It was
That's
crazy.
insane. That's a hitting coach's wet dream. Good Lord.
What did you just say? Wet dream?
What did he say?
What did he say?
And
But yeah, so looking at Tuesday, there's
Texas
besides
is gonna
Texas
kick
Tech
the
and Dallas
crap out of
Baptist.
Texas A&M Community College.
Oh well, duh.
It's gonna be-
Baylor has Houston Baptist. They've been in a couple of regional appearances. TCU is FS Austin.
Mhm,
Florida
that'll be a good one.
Stetson in Florida. That could be a
As well.
potential good game. That one's at Stetson. Otherwise, I'm not really seeing much on the top 25 side of things besides Dallas Baptist and Texas Tech. Looking down through the rest of the week, still not much.
Yeah, not much
Let's
on
go.
Wednesday.
Let's jump all the way till Friday because
Till
there's
Friday?
Wednesday
Mhm.
games.
Yeah, Wednesday. I feel like those are midweek stuff, so it's
Yeah.
not full
So
load.
Ole Miss has VCU this week. They put up a decent fight on the
Ooh.
weekend. Vanderbilt's got Army.
East Carolina has North Carolina. Ooh.
Yep, that's a
Out
big
of the
weekend for them.
Linas.
Oh, Texas has SEC opponent Alabama, and then number 2 Arkansas. They won't be number 2 for long because they got upset this weekend as well by the Illinois State Redbirds. They have Indiana, who just lost on a walk-off today to Clemson. So that'll be a good one as well. And then also you
Don't
can
sleep
catch
on
in
Alabama.
Waco. I'm not sleeping on Alabama. Alabama is a decent SEC team. So Texas and Ivan Melendez will have a big test this week coming up with an SEC opponent.
Yeah, they went 3-0 this week. They got a nice little player in Zane Denton down there too.
Yeah, they
I
do.
don't know if you've
Zane
seen him,
Denton's not bad.
but the dude can
And
swing
also,
it.
Josh, I think you liked this team a couple of years ago. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but Kent State travels to Lubbock. They got Texas Tech this weekend in a weekend series.
Yeah, I did like Kent State when they came around here. They kind of got overshadowed because that was the same year that Stony Brook came here.
Yep.
They actually got a win, though. Kent State did while they were here. So they didn't go 2-2 right away. But yeah, that Kent State team is not bad.
Kent
Mhm.
State beat Coastal Carolina this week.
They
Did
did.
Kent State have Coastal the entire weekend?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God, that's still so freaking loud. I'm trying to look at schedules here. But so Kent State has Texas Tech, and then Townsend was playing Miami this weekend, but they got LSU next weekend. So
Ooh, we got on Saturday. I don't know if you mentioned this because I was still cycling through, but we got Arkansas and Stanford. That'll be a good one.
That'll be great.
Be one to watch for sure.
Stanford's pitching is always pretty good. Arkansas's offense is there for the TAM taken, and that's at the Round Rock Classic. So, bunch of good games this weekend. Trying to see if anybody else has some pretty good stand-ups. I mean, Pittsburgh has Lipscomb this weekend. They ended up losing, I think, the entire series this weekend as well. Tennessee has Iona.
There you go.
Oklahoma
series
State and
right here.
Wright State this weekend as well. Mike, what you got?
Old Dominion.
No. Who's
Old
Old Dominion?
They got Bingham. I don't even know how to say this. Binghamton, some school out of
Binghamton?
Norfolk, Virginia.
I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe that one. Maybe that one.
Binghamton.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Huge.
Sounds like an
Huge
Old Dominion
series.
dub.
Old Dominion.
Three
dub.
of them. Three of them. Most definitely. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, one team to keep on the
Mike
radar
and his
too.
Old Dominion run.
Mhm. Yeah, one team to keep on the radar though is the Raging Cajuns out of Louisiana. They're not bad.
And Old
They
Dominion.
had a very good weekend this week.
Hmm. And they play Arkansas on Sunday, so that'll be a real test. But again, we just got to keep our eyes out, and everybody listening out there, keep your eyes out for these ranked opponents because early it seems like either they'll tack it on to some teams they're supposed to do it, or other teams that aren't ranked are going to come out for blood, and they're gonna put it on them. So
Old Dominion, baby.
Yeah. Mike's got Old
45
Dominion.
runs. 45 runs is what they put up this week.
Ooh,
Only gave up
damn.
3. Old Dominion. Don't sleep.
Man, they even beat Texas out on that because
Yeah.
Texas had 33 runs on 3 against 3 given up.
Yeah, granted they played the wannabe Harvard School of Iona, but Old Dominion.
Old Dominion.
Well, I'm looking at
Mic drop.
I'm looking at Louisiana too. Josh, you mentioned it. They ended up winning the entire series over UC Irvine. They won 2 straight games at back-to-back days. They won Saturday win day, as Ole Miss likes to call it, and then they have Sunday fun day, and they won that today. They won 5-3 earlier today. They lost on Friday, but Louisiana came out with a vengeance after Friday. So look out for the Raging Cajuns.
Exactly.
I also think NC State, even though they're only playing Quinnipiac, I want to see what Tyler White does.
But I will say, Quinnipiac, I think it was either in March or even this year, the same year, both their basketball team and their baseball team made an NCAA tournament appearance. So I think Quinnipiac could just be one of those like weird teams in a weird conference that'll make an appearance. But we'll see. I do agree, Mike. Whatever Taylor White does, I'm here for. Honestly, he was lights out this weekend. He went 9 for 12 on a dang weekend with 5 home runs in 48 hours. So big tough stat line for some teams to follow.
Yeah,
definitely.
But
all right, well, I guess we'll have to keep our eyes open for those games, and I guess we'll group back together and talk about the weekend next week and the week. Now that we got midweek games and weekend games, I'm excited for this because after this weekend, I feel like we can continue to keep going up. So very excited to see the season moving forward.
I definitely think it's a good season. I think there's a lot of good players that are still staying out there. I think a lot of teams have still some stuff to prove. And I think a lot of dark horse teams are kind of coming through. So we'll see how it goes. Like we said, week 1, there's always some big teams that fall, big teams that kind of prove through. So we'll see how it goes. And once the conference season starts, I think that's where we narrow down who we got on our big picks. So looking forward to late March.
All right. Well, we have come out on different platforms now. Now we are on Twitter at Homaha Pod. So it's the No Place Like Homaha. And we are also up on YouTube. Just Google or search in the search bar, No Place Like Homaha. Tell your friends, coworkers, all that kind of stuff. Other than that, you guys got anything else?
Just waiting to find some sponsors. Anybody that wants to sponsor us, give us a shout out.
Exactly. Still waiting on that sponsorship,
Yeah.
ESPN.
Old Dominion.
Yeah.
Old Dominion. Old Dominion sponsorship. Perfect.
Old Dominion sponsors a podcast that talks about everybody else but Old Dominion.
Now we brought it
Word.
up. We brought it up.
Yeah, I'll bring
We
them up
brought
every
'em up.
time. Every single time.
All right. Well,
Alrighty. Well,
Yep. It's been fun. It's been real. We'll catch you guys next week.
see ya later.
What it is on the highlight reel.